I would like to begin with the story of a little girl, Alize, who was born in a patriarchal society of patriarchal society of India, where she experienced that sons were given more preference than daughters. And as simple as that, I think until the age of around 30, she had to take permission before even stepping out of the house. And the brother was always given a first preference, and when argued, it would be about, but he's a boy. And that was her journey. Having no support in the family, she went through her own experience where she suffered sexual abuse within her own relatives. And I'm sure most of the girls in our country have gone through certain amount of molestation, rape or sexual abuse within the families. And it becomes all the more traumatizing when you cannot go and talk about it, because talking about this are still considered as taboo issues. And she was shut. She continued growing up with that trauma, became a mother, had bonding issues with her own child, had bonding issues with her mother. Her own daughter had promiscuous relationships. She could not have any stability in her relationship because she continued with that trauma within her. So it could be fairly said that the grown-up adult has bonding issues, and traumatic experience in generation 1 continues as bonding disorder in generation 2, increasing the high risk of more traumatic experiences. And bonding disorder in generation 3 is very high risk of trauma experience. One can further add to this that a mother's presence is a powerful thing. It has the strength to uplift and aspire, and the potential to damage and disparage. When the mother, we have all observed maybe some way or the other in our life or in our environment, then the mother is emotionally unavailable, critical, or not attuned to the child's needs. It plants seeds that can take years to unearth and transform. The maternal bond is the primary form of bonding for humans. It is via the mother that the child experiences herself or himself. I am here, I have a body, I have needs and feelings. Bonding to the mother is the foundation of psychological patterning to every human being. One can also say that if the original bonding is missing or is seriously disrupted, the psychological and emotional foundations of an individual are exceptionally unstable and subject to disturbance to the person who is in this growing up stage of life. Well, in my experience, the mother wound is not a typical term one may hear in a counseling or a therapy session, but it may be a factor that is influencing your relationship. While the mother wound is most often associated with daughters, it is possible for sons to also have mother wound factors that influence their relationship. The mother wound is the pain, wounding, and trauma that's carried by a mother and inherited by her children, and daughters and sons facing the brunt of this wound. Even if the mother is physically present, having a mother who is emotionally attuned and available to you when you were a child, who is not emotionally attuned and available to you when you were a child, can still cause pain. Mother wound can manifest as attachment issues, codependent patterns, depression and anxiety, disorder eating, substance misuse. A lot of times when people come with sudden weight gain, and when it's dealt in therapy, one realizes that it is some trauma in the childhood that they are carrying along with them. It can also reflect as paralyzing perfection, lack of self-confidence, self-sabotaging patterns in interpersonal relationships, a cruel inner dialogue that belittles and berates. We have been hearing so much in the recent years about inner child healing, and yes, critical inner child can really damage and disrupt an adult. It can also manifest as a lack of motivation to start or complete new projects, a deeply rooted feeling of unworthiness, fear of becoming a mother, that is also a mother wound that one may be carrying inside, a belief that nothing will ever be good enough. Mental health challenges that are causing significant distress in daily functioning often drive the adult child to seek professional support. Motherhood also can manifest as, if a mother hates her own daughter, she sees in her daughter her own mother, and therefore she treats her daughter as she wants to treat her own mother. A mother who has suffered trauma will inevitably pass her traumatic experience onto her child in some form. We do not realize it. When we are mothers, even if you may have a happy childhood, but genetically there is an absolute possibility that you may be passing on generational trauma to your child. And it's very important as mothers to heal yourselves, because you will be setting your child free. Healing the mother wound is not the same as mother blaming. We look at the relationship with our mothers not for the purpose of assigning blame or making our mothers wrong. And that's never possible. We do this inner work for the purpose of truth and healing, and to prevent these wounds getting passed on. We cannot heal what we don't acknowledge. Thank you so much for patient listening, friends, and you have a great evening. Thank you.